unlike no other. Why do I say that? Well, over 17,000 people through the doors. And 98.36 report a life-changing miracle during their stay. If you're watching this, maybe you've already had one. Better than that, at the 6-month mark, 90.22% say that this was the week that changed their life. Talk about the board of directors for a second. Martin Luther King's son, Martin. Caesar Milan, the dog whisperer. Michael Bernard Beckwith, the founder of Agape. Ron White, the comedian. Jack Canfield, the author of Chicken Soup of the Soul, 50 million books sold. Kelly Slater, the greatest surfer of all time. Earl Koski, the businessman. Tony Coe, the Fortune 100 self-made women in the world. All on this little board of directors in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. Why are they here? Why did they give us their name to this crazy life advancement center that incorporates general medicine, ayahuasca, farm-to-table organic food, breathwork, yoga, meditation, and metaphysical teachings all into this thing? Why would they do that? Oh, Frank Biden, to Joe Biden's brother. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Because it works. And it really, really, really works. And so I invite you to come here. And these things I talk about are a process that happens at Rythmia. So at Rythmia, what usually occurs is a soul reclamation or a soul merger, which is an ancient event. And the basic belief is that sometime between when you're conceived and when you're about 5 to 6 years old, something happens to fracture or fissure your soul, and there's a schism that occurs, and then the rest of your life you spend trying to fix that schism with other things, fix that crack with other things, drugs, alcohol, sex, money, education, shopping, blah, 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 blah. And the only thing that fixes it is to put it back together. Nothing can fill that hole. So that's the theory that this place is built on. And it's an amazing theory. And the theory really, 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 really works. Who comes here? Normal people just like you and me. And top athletes, billionaires, entertainers, thought leaders, politicians, civil servants, psychologists, all come here to have this thing happen. And now normally what happens is this occurs, right? And then shortly thereafter, the person in their awakening decides to turn their life towards becoming a beneficial presence on the planet, right? To do that. And usually in the endeavor of becoming a beneficial presence on the planet, there's a lot of turmoil, a lot of, and look at, if you are happy with mediocrity, right? If you're okay with just taking from the planet and not giving to it, I'm okay with that. But this is for those that aren't, right? These are for, this whole program is for people who want more. They want more satisfaction. They want to give more. They want to become more. That's what this Rythmia is for. And these people, when they have this happen to them, to themselves, to their soul, and they see all life in all of its forms as a miracle, and they want to give this gift to others through what they do with their life, through music or food or healing techniques or teaching or sports or however they want to give it. They decide to embark on this process. And the process is a 10-year process. On the inside, 7 years. On the outside, 14, 15, 16, 17 years. This is not a short process. This is a life. But during this process, you fall in love with the process. And then the act of your becoming a beneficial presence turns into its own ceremony. And for those of you who are dreamers, I don't mean daydreamers, I mean night dreamers, how you love to go to sleep to have this experience of dream, then the day becomes your dream. The day becomes your ceremony, right? This life, the richness of it, the awareness of all of it all the time becomes this beautiful ceremony through the worst times. And depending on how much you want to disrupt, how much you want to shake up the norm, you're going to be met with a lot of resistance, right? A lot. And you have to be prepared for that and built for that. And there are things and steps that we make to prepare our ardent, our how we're protecting ourselves in this journey. And there are steps and things that we can do to protect it. And not only that, but to make it easier. Now, I'm not looking for easy. I'm saying to take to anything that can assist in making that a more fluid period of time, the better, right? Without making it easy. Trust me, it will be the hardest thing that you've ever done, and it will give you more than you could ever imagine. And that is the truth. So what are some of the things that today I want to talk about? Some of the things that assist it. And so in ceremony, I've seen these things reconfirmed. Now, I can't tell you why this works. I can only tell you that it works. So the act of tithing, and a lot of people hate the word, because when we think of tithing, we think of an old white Baptist minister saying, "Hey, give me your money and I'll get you to heaven." That's not tithing. That is tithing. That's not the tithing that I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is making a deal with the universe for its participation with you. So how my tithing works, and by the way, I learned this early on in my life, and I just came to it. I came to this conclusion when I was a Catholic. But my thing is, I talk to the universe in real clear terms. My goals are very specific goals. And I say, I'm going to participate with the universe to make these happen. And these goals that I have are all about helping the masses, right? I've been lucky enough today to be involved with a business that has helped over 17,000 people have this incredible, that's my gift, right? So the better that I do it and the more mastery that I attain over it, the more financial benefits trickle down to me. And that's just how life goes. You get great at basketball, you develop mastery in basketball, then the universe rewards you with the energetic equivalent, which is either grace, the joy of helping people, the monetary equivalent of the energy of money, whatever that gift is. The gifts are so many, but one of them is the energy of money. So what does that require of me? What I do is I always promise the universe that I will tithe out of my delta. So I want to explain that to you. So a lot of people, when they think of tithing, they cringe because they're living paycheck to paycheck, especially in times of this kind of economy. They're living paycheck to paycheck. That if they had to tithe, they wouldn't know where to get the money from because they don't have the extra income to tithe. So there's two things. If you go back to the Bible talks about 10%. And the earliest writings talk about tithing 10%. That was 10% in a different time. Income taxes were there were no income tax. There were property taxes and things like that. Income taxes is a very recent idea, right? But nonetheless, so let's talk about my deal with the universe. What I say to the universe is, I'm going to create this, and this is going to help this many people. And because of this, I'm going to make this much more money than I'm making now. And out of that delta, I'm going to tithe to you 5% or 6% or 7%, because you have to allow for income taxes. So if you're, I don't know what the average wage of the people who watch this thing are, but let's say it's 100,000. Let's just say, and let's say that you've had this soul merger, and now you want to become the best of a Reiki healer that there is. And that becoming this worldwide known Reiki healer, you're going to make an additional $100,000 a year. Well, I'm going to tell you to make this deal with the universe in ceremony. And what I mean by ceremony is everything should be a ceremony that has pomp, that has, you make a thing, you cook some cacao, you burn some incense, you have this ceremony so that your soul wakes up and knows that you're making an eternal deal with the forever. And you're going to say, universe, as part of this, I want to become the greatest healer of all time, a Reiki healer. And I'm willing to give everything I have to it. And I don't care how long it takes, or da-da-da-da. I give you my word that I'm going to do it. And out of the extra money that I make, I'm going to tithe 7%. So out of every $100,000, I'm going to tithe $7,000 to you. And then, part of doing this prior to having the ceremony where you commit to doing it is you research and find out where you're going to give that money to, whether it's UNICEF or CARE or the United Negro College Fund or St. Joe's, wherever you're going to give it, you have to delineate it and know that you're going to give it. And then you start having this process with the universe as your partner, with the light as your partner. So then what does that do? Well, number one, it creates protection from you, because there will always be, and there are no lesser souls. All souls are created equal. But the souls that deal in darkness and pettiness and trying to stop you, they just vibrate lower than so there's different vibrations. So if the vibration of my being is to bring all kinds of healing and to elevate people, it's going to vibrate different than, let's say, someone who dislikes you and just wants to bring you down. They're going to vibrate different, right? So this participation with the universe and the light and all things good creates protection in your process of going forward. And when you start knowing that you're protected, you see all of the help that shows up, because there is confirmation bias. When you believe everything is good, everything that presents itself, you start noticing all the good, and that creates your own vibration to go north, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I want to tell you something. There is no limitation based on the smallness of where your idea starts. I have a guy, and we all love different things and show love in different ways. I had a fellow that came through here 7 years ago who was a plumber. And if you don't think plumbers' souls work, like if that's not soul work, go for a day in your house without a bathroom, and you'll see how much a plumber is needed. But anyway, you wouldn't think that industry, plumbing, would be something that would generate a ton of fruit. But this particular guy loved plumbing so much, and was just a plumber, wasn't trained in business, wasn't trained. But the next thing you know, he has 6 plumbing stores in one major city. And the guy's making $4 or $5 million a year net profit from plumbing. So I don't care if you're a Reiki healer, or if you like knitting, or if you're painting, or if you're in the food service business, or if you're in the landscaping. It doesn't matter. If you love it and you see how it benefits people, and it elevates people, that is your thing. So forget about, oh, you can't make a lot of money doing that. Forget about all that. I have a friend who is a great, and he's a close friend, who's a great pizza maker, and started with one pizza shop. One pizza shop. You probably heard of his business. It's called Papa John's. One pizza shop. So I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The smallness is in your mind. The bigness is in your heart. So when if you love medical management, I loved medical management when I was a young guy, and I started out with just a few plastic surgery centers, but I wound up with 143 because the smallness wasn't in my mind. I had this bigness, a love for doing that particular business. So what I'm telling you, don't get fooled by the one, because if you love the one, you can make the many. It's just the way that it is. So there is nothing too small, too insignificant, because they grow with love. So what I'm telling you is, have the ceremony. Merge with your soul. Love what you love. See it as being able to help many. Tithe and make a deal with the universe out of the delta, out of the surplus. And you will notice that all things begin to conspire to assist you. You will notice it, and you will take notice of it, because it's really real and it really happens. And then people will say these kinds of things to you. Oh my God, you're the luckiest person on earth. You should have been dead 42 times. You're the luckiest person on earth. You're the only one who's ever tried a business like this, and 50 people have tried to shut you down, but you just keep going and getting bigger and better and better. People will tell you that kind of stuff, but it's not that. It's not that you're lucky. You made a deal with the universe, and you're vibrating at a higher place. So please do this. Take this to heart. Use it, and really use it, and have a ceremony over it. Okay, thank you. Have a beautiful week. God bless you. God keep you. God hold you.